All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening, celebrating this fish fry. And I'd like to make a presentation. A lot of you don't know, but I'm the author of a book titled God's Child. And you see the shirt that a lot of people are wearing. That's the cover of the book that I wrote back in 1975. And I was under contract for 2 years. And the publishing company terminated it because they felt they just didn't want to get involved, but they violated my contract, and they were supposed to produce 4,000 copies of the book, but they only accounted for 1,000. So I got a lawyer, and we put in a lawsuit, and then I got contacted by a law firm under a class action lawsuit. So we were under that class action for 25 years, and we won the class action, and we were awarded like $3.5 million. But like the lawyers are going to take 1/3, and then you got a lot of costs for expense, and then there were 1,125 authors that had to divide the other money up, and really I didn't get what I put into it. But anyway, this book is about my life growing up in Hamtramck, and there's a lot of Hamtramck people here probably know what I went through at that Hamtramck age and stage in my life. But then I got married and moved out of Hamtramck and got, like I say, married, and life continued and the drama continued. But I used to work for a company called Champion Spark Plug, and there are a lot of people in Hamtramck that worked for Champion Spark Plug. And Champion is the one that enticed me to write the book, because they were looking for a black person to invest in, because they invested in a lot of white ventures as far as racing, okay? So, kids distracting my attention. So they decided that they would look for a black person in the plant that had a master plan. I told them I had one. And they asked me what it was. I said, I'd like to do a picture of my life growing up in Hamtramck, how everybody was like a family, we got along well. It was like almost like a heaven on earth, because we were all poor, but we didn't know it. But we all just had a wonderful relationship with each other. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, it was just a beautiful situation. So I wanted to put that on film and give my ideal of a heaven on earth, because it felt that way to me, being around so many people of different colors. But when I wrote the book and got it published, and I approached Champion to get the finances, during that time of writing the book, I found out they exploited me from apprenticeship tests that I had taken. And they told me that I missed by so many percentage, and that later on I found out that I passed. So I incorporated that in my book. And when I incorporated that in my book, and when they read that part, then they said, no, we can't do that because we're exposing ourselves. So eventually Champion Spark Plug moved out of Detroit, and they went to Cambridge, Ohio. And then they actually, a lot of people don't know, but they changed their name. They went under Cooper Division. But anyway, the book is, like I say, a life story, my experience growing up in Hamtramck, having a wonderful childhood, and my life getting married and going through a lot of trials and tribulations. So I don't want to really get off into that. Eventually I'm going to have the book on Amazon, and I'll let everybody know. Hopefully you sign the guest book, and you can get into that personal stuff. But in the back of my book I have some meditative prose, and I'd like to recite it and give you my interpretation of it. I mean, it's like poetry. When you read it, you have your own interpretation, but knowing I'm the author, so I'll give you my interpretation, and whenever you get a chance to read it, you can have your interpretation of it too, okay? And there's about, I'd say, 12 stanzas of the meditative prose, and the first one is called Earthbound. Now this is very touching, because last year when I had my grandchildren and nieces and nephews, they did a play on the stage about Earthbound, and it went like, I know that when my mind first came here, I thought I was an angel, and I came to rest, and I rest so long I fell asleep, but now I know it's time to wake up. But in my interpretation, I had the kids do it where it said, I know that when my mind first came here, I thought I was an angel, and I came to rest, and I rest so long I fell into a deep sleep. And I dreamed of wars and rumors of wars, men killing men, men killing children, children killing children. Now I know it's time to wake up. And this is what my grandson recited. And I had my nieces and nephews walk around him, and they had little wings on like angels. And when they walked around, they went like they were falling asleep, because somehow we got to this planet. We must have been like angels to exist at a beginning stage when man first came to this planet. And I was going to have one of my nephews walk out with a rifle, a phony rifle, and he was going to point it at the kids. And when the grandson said, I know it's time to wake up, he didn't do any shooting, but he was going to walk away when he said, it's time to wake up. Well, my wife said, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because you might freak people out, with the little kid running out with a play gun. But later on, last year, when you remember Sandy Hook and that young man that killed those kids, that touched my spirit, because it's like a premonition. And what I said and how I had to play and what I was going to do was before that happened. And when that happened, it just went through my spirit like I was just trying to warn society that something drastic is going to happen, because something drastic always happens. But that touched me personally. So my interpretation of that particular stanza, Earthbound, I said, we know that when we came to earth, we came from somewhere. And in the Bible it says God created the heavens and the earth. And at night when you look into the heavens, you see trillions of stars, okay? And that is the heavens, and it's written in the Bible. And when we were put on earth, we must have been like angels to survive. And we are in the image of God. We're all spiritual. And like I say, we're all basically all the same. The basic difference that we have is our thinking. And there's no two of us that really think alike, okay? And the earth is a resting place, because we're here resting, and when we go through our metamorphosis, we move on. And we are not here for forever, but we have rested so long we've fallen asleep, having nightmares. And some of us are dreaming that we are devils, murderers, cheaters, and insane. And men are killing men, men are killing children, and children are killing children. But now I know it's time to wake up from this terrible nightmare and fulfill that biblical prophecy of a heaven on earth. And everybody know that the Bible says it will be done on earth as it is in heaven, and it's up to us to make it that way, because if God wanted it to be that way, it would have been done a long time ago. And like I say, earth is in heaven, but heaven isn't on earth, and it's up to us to make it that way. That's why we're here. And the next stanza is living and dying. Judgment day is when all men and women die. They live in that world and see life over until it reaches the point in the universe that all humans have a just and perfect understanding of what life is and what reality is all about. Living and dying, two different worlds. And my interpretation is, when our bodies die, our spirit goes to another dimension. And with God, our creator, we watch our past and the future of the living souls in this universe perform God's work of our spirits coming together and fulfilling that biblical prophecy. And you cannot change the past, it's etched, but we can change the future. And we live here, we are dying, but that is a part of our living. So living is one stage that we're in right now. All of us are living, but when we die, that's another stage, that's dying. Living and dying, two different worlds. Then I've got the black sheep. The black people in America are considered the black sheep of the human race. They have always sought to identify with their universal brothers and sisters, but in his efforts he has gone astray, even from his own cultural family. But time will tell if he regains his spiritual powers and unite his universal family under the power of the human race. And the interpretation of that is, most of us have heard the quotation, the black sheep of the family. Now, that was a quotation that our white brothers and sisters used to refer to a family member who was a little different from the family, normal routine, one who would gravitate to other cultures. But the black man in North America is a part of the human family. And we have gone astray from our black culture to become a part of our universal family, sometimes being accepted and sometimes being rejected. But time will tell if we unite God's children. That's my interpretation of the black sheep. And I have another one that says to be or not to be. And it goes, if we play the game of heaven right, our children will grow up in heaven before they die. Anybody who doesn't play the game right is the devil. And in reality, the devil and God are the same person. It is the person with the split personality. He or she doesn't know which one he or she wants to be. The devil is a negative person. He is so negative that he really doesn't believe in himself and no one else. He or she does not have respect or consideration for its brothers or sisters. The devil cheats. God plays fair. God will always win at the end. And the interpretation of that, to be or not to be, God created every living soul. We were created with free will. We all have choices. We can choose to do good or bad, be positive or negative. All of nature is under this spirit. Fire is good or bad. It can burn your house down or it can warm your house up. Water can drown you or water can save you. To be a godly choice is a choice. You either godly or you're devilish. Your actions dictate who you are. You can tell me anything, but I see the way you perform, then I know who you are. You're either doing a godly deed or a devilish deed. That's life. Okay, the next one is heaven. We all know that life can be wonderful. We have all had that wonderful feeling at one time in our life. When we put heaven back together again, the whole world is going to rejoice and feel heavenly happy the rest of our lives. The key to heaven is love, respect, and understanding. And the interpretation is, if you won $1 million lottery, you would feel good for a while. And if you spent it all the first year, because you would become broke, you might become miserable. If we live in a heavenly environment, we would be happy all the time because God has provided all the things necessary for us to be happy for the rest of our lives. That is my interpretation of that. The next prose is, let's make this world a united heaven. There are a lot of people who don't really realize that we were put here to live and get along with one another and to know and not think about what God is, who God is, and why God is. When we all know what God is, together we can live in heaven. The truth is the light, and people must seek the truth in order to exist. Now that's in the back of the book, and this is my interpretation. Let's make this a united heaven. Earth is in heaven, but heaven is not on earth. In the Bible, Genesis, God made men and women before God made Adam and Eve. Where did they go? On earth and in the heavens. When we come together as God's children and realize that God created an infinite universe and we are all throughout the universe, we must live in harmony with one another. The truth is the light, and we must seek the truth in order to exist. Okay, and the next one is God's children. When we speak of God, we are referring to the highest. We are the highest that we know of, but we don't treat each other like it. When the day comes that all human beings realize this fact, we will enjoy the reality that God created for his children. When we are God's children and life is our gift, it is our honor and duty to help our brothers and sisters mentally whenever possible. We were all put here together. If it wasn't so, it wouldn't be. So we might as well get along together because we're all going to be here until eternity. And the interpretation of that is God's children. The difference between God and God's children is God can take nothing and make something. God's children always need something in order to make something. Everything that we do is a part of our eternity. Okay, the next one is atoms. A lot of us are confused because our minds can only see the outside, the physicalness of reality. Some of our minds have been developed enough to see the spiritualness that brought us here. Our scientific minds have broken down matter into molecules, molecules into atoms, but no one knows where the atom comes from or how they form the features that we see. They come and they go. Only the atoms know. But one thing we do know for a fact is that we are all nothing but atoms. And my interpretation of that is subatomic particles have been discovered since I've written this book. And man is trying to break down the subatomic particles, searching for God. We will never find the Creator by looking through telescopes or microscopes. Infinity is beyond our imagination. My God is not above me nor down below. My God is inside of me. My thoughts tell me so. When we recognize that we are all created from the same Spirit, then we will know what God is. And the next one is the Queen. And it goes, all women are potential queens. Every queen needs a king. If most men knew the power of their queen, that would truly fulfill his dream. And the interpretation is, a queen is respected as the highest figure in a kingdom. In North America, we don't have a monarchy. All women are supposed to be the queen of their castle. A queen needs a king to protect her. God gave women the privilege to bear children. That is why we should protect them at all costs. Women are more intelligent than men, in my opinion. Okay? That is why man has tried to control them throughout history. Women are far more organized than men, and I know that for a fact. Women are uniting all over the planet, and through education, women will make this a better planet, and men will help them. The majority rule, and women are the majority. So women, wake up. You want it to be a better world, you won't send your children out there to kill their brothers. Okay, the next one is what it is. And it goes like, what it is, brother. To live, to be, to know thyself, to create, to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to understand, to destroy, to die. Why? Everything is everything. And the interpretation of that is, what it is, to live. We all have life. To be. We are all here. To know thyself. We need to know who we are. To create. We all have that creative ability to enhance life. To go to the moon. It is there and we went. To go to Mars. It is there and we will satisfy our curiosity to go there, to understand, to help us to get along and move forward, to destroy, to make room for the new. To die, it is a part of our evolutionary process. Why? Everything is everything. We're all a part of this macrocosm, and we must learn how to live in harmony with each other. Now, my brothers and sisters, the mind helps those who help themselves. And my brothers and sisters, let's make today a better day. We cannot change yesterday. This is the beginning of the rest of our lives. Now, I'm going to end this here with a song by John Lennon, and it's called Imagine. Voice is kind of sore now. I need a drink of water, but I think I can finish. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Maybe someday you will join us. and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Maybe someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you, thank you. So enjoy yourselves, and anyone wants to question me for the next 5 minutes, I'm free to answer questions, or if you want to talk in person, pull me to the side, and if you confused about some of the things that I said, or you believe something different, you got that choice. We all have free will, but open your mind. You got to look at other things, because you don't know what your vision is unless you look or listen to someone else's. And if yours is stronger, then more power to you. Thank you. No questions? I can party now. Enjoy, everyone.